morning, everyone. Glad to see you here, to be with you. Such a rare opportunity. If we think of all the beings in the world, even the ones we can see, about 7.5 billion humans, so few have the precious circumstances to be able to do anything more than struggle for survival. Yet here we are with all these conditions. And the wonderful condition of having Dharma friends who want to do the same thing we want to do. Because it's not much fun to come here and be alone. So just rejoice in those sitting around you, that they share your motivation to end suffering in the world. Incredibly precious. So I was thinking about this word this week, about uncertainty. These seem to be uncertain times for our Sangha, for the world, for our families. And then I remembered that all the time is uncertain. It's not special. Why it seems special is we forget that. And it's one of the very first teachings of the Buddha. And we forget it. I think I'm so smart about the Buddha's teachings. But then I start seeing, oh, I don't have it. I don't get it. Because the moment something becomes uncertain, I'm thrown into the waves of emotions, reactions, fear. Sometimes I even forget to be just basically kind to those around me because of that reaction. But every moment's uncertain, right? It doesn't take us much contemplation about our lives to realize this. How many phone calls have you gone where you went, oh my God? And it's just that we don't get it yet. We're working on it, but we don't really get it. That impermanence is impermanence is. And that's okay. So when we get thrown like that, what do we turn to? We can turn to our usual, what was I calling them? Low-level happinesses. Stuff ourselves with cheesecake. Have another brandy. Go out to another movie. And nothing's wrong with those. But you all know, they're not reliable sources of refuge. They're unreliable. In that, in their very essence, they don't carry any kind of long-term happiness. They don't carry us toward the end of suffering, much less carry anyone else, which is, as we are on the Bodhisattva path, we say that's what we're doing. So this teaching of impermanence is so deep, and these kind of situations where suddenly, for example, our friend Bill is not here, Or, for example, our dear Lama is having certain difficulties with his health and planning, etc. Then we get thrown into the waves, and all the teachings say, bow to that. Bow to it. This is the Guru showing up. If our lives just sail along in this way, pleasant, then we might be in kind of what's called a God realm. But for as long as our minds are not completely clear about the nature of the mind, the pure, unobstructed, luminous, empty nature of our minds, and the method of deep compassion, then we'll always be thrown like that. That's okay. We have to be where we are. We also have to practice and use those times. That's why we bow to them. Bow to the times that shake us up, because that's the Guru showing up, showing us, okay, here's what you don't know how to do. You already know how to do all this other stuff. Here's a challenge. Are you able to stay in your view of interconnectedness? Are we able to continue to be kind? Are we able to remember what is the reliable source of refuge? The Buddha, the Buddha's teachings, and those who follow the teachings. So before we do our beautiful refuge and bodhicitta prayer, I wanted to read this prayer that I turn to. Some of you have heard it before. This is by Lama Zopa Rinpoche, teacher of my teacher, Venerable Thubten Chödrön. It's called Dedication for a Meaningful Life. Whatever actions I do, eating, walking, sitting, sleeping, working, and so forth, and whatever I experience in life, up or down, happiness or pain, health or sickness, harmony or discord, success or failure, wealth or poverty, praise or criticism, whether I am living or dying, or even born in a horrible rebirth, whether I live long or not, may my life be beneficial for all sentient beings. The main purpose of my life is not simply to be rich, respected, famous, healthy, happy. The meaning of my life is to benefit all sentient beings. Therefore, from now on, may whatever actions I do be beneficial for all beings. May whatever I experience in life, happiness or suffering, be dedicated to actualizing this path to awakening. May whatever I do, say, or think benefit all sentient beings and help them to attain full awakening quickly. So that's what bodhisattvas think and try for. So let's continue following that. And we'll do our refuge and bodhicitta prayer.
Until the summit of enlightenment is reached, I and all beings go for refuge to the sources of true refuge. I will now practice the absorption of calm abiding in order to release all beings from their particular suffering establish them in lasting peace and happiness, until the summit of enlightenment is reached. I and all beings go for refuge to the sources of true refuge. I will now practice the absorption of calm abiding in order to release all beings from their particular suffering and establish them in lasting peace and happiness. Until the summit of enlightenment is reached, I and all beings go for refuge to the sources of true refuge. I will now practice the absorption of calm abiding in order to release all beings from their particular suffering and establish them in lasting peace and happiness.
Now we engage in our shamatha practice, our calm abiding, for about the next 40 minutes. There will be some tiny formal breaks. There will be a notice like this. And that's a time for sure you can relax and stretch. But please sit in a relaxed way. And if you need to move some part of your body, just before moving it, consider whether you can relax without moving it. And if you can't and you really need to move it, then do that gently. Now there's nothing to do. So do that. Finally. Nowhere to go. No identity to even hold on to. The long time instructions are: let go of the past, it's gone. There's nothing you can do about it. Let go of the future, it's not here. Nothing you can do about that either. And as for the present, don't think about it. Just be here. The easiest anchor is to follow your breath without manipulating it. And of course, the mind will wander into past, into future, into thinking. That's okay, no problem. When you notice that, bring the mind back to the breath very precisely. And in that moment, when you notice the wandering, the distraction, the thinking, and then you come back to the breath by choice, notice what that's like, and just repeat it over and over. So enjoy your time of doing nothing, not even meditating. relax and stretch if you need. Have a stretch if you need. If you're sleepy, brighten your own mind. You can bring in a lot of very pure white light. It's not helpful to cultivate a sleepy meditation or a dreamy one. It's a very precise, aware mind that is relaxed, but noticing each thing that's happening. If your mind is excited, you can focus on a small black dot that you can imagine on the floor in front of you. So each of us need to lead our own shamatha and notice if our mind is foggy, sleepy, brighten it. And think of the sun for a moment, or bring some light in. And again, if you're excited, you can bring the mind down with a thought of impermanence, death, or looking at a small black dot. And then just rest again and be aware of what your mind is doing each moment. too may I quickly realize Mahamudra
and establish all beings without exception in this state.
Thank you for that. So, we will have a tea break now, and then, and especially if you're new here today, please come up and say hello to myself, Zopa, or Dora, associate teachers here, but also say hello to everybody down in the tea room. This Sangha is generally quite friendly and welcoming, which is lovely. After a tea break, we will reassemble here for discussion, questions, answers, explorations of our practice and the Dharma. So please come back, and that goes till 11. Tomorrow and the next day, we're going to engage in our New Year's retreat. And so tomorrow, December 31st, that's 9 to 4. And then on January 1st, the next day, it's 9 to 4, followed by Lama Michael giving the refuge ceremony to, well, we know 5 or 6 people are going to take that. So we're rejoicing in that mightily. It's wonderful when someone takes refuge, and you're welcome to come to the ceremony. In your mind, you can simply be there and renew your refuge, which helps to, they say helps to purify, but it's really purification of your own intentions. Purify any ways that you've kind of left your refuge during the year, which is pretty much 90% of the day for me. I think I'm rejoicing in that 10% when I remember what is it I'm doing. not just trying to make myself happy moment by moment. So let's see that. The refuge retreat both days, you can come for part of it. So if you're able to come for an hour, do that. And that's fine. And you can register online for the retreat. And the retreat will be led by our dear Lama, Michael Conklin, myself, and Sally and Jeff Allworth will be helping out. So it will be a little different than years past, because we need to give Lama Michael the room to rest as he needs to during the day. So we will be doing that. And we're very happy to have him for whatever parts and pieces we can. He's quite tired, but also doing well. I think that's it about that. Maybe winter retreat, Dora, you could say something about that.
I think registration will be opening soon. Would you say that, Linda?
So it's just going to be people contacting me to make reservations. It's not going to be really.
Okay, but an announcement may come out soon telling you how to register, which will be by contacting Linda, because it's anyway a 2-month period starting February 15th of personal retreat out at our retreat land, and meals provided and a little structure provided, but basically you practice in your own room, which you will have private cabins, So if you feel ready to try a personal retreat or ready for a longer one than you've done before, this is a great opportunity. I encourage people to plan for it.
And if you have questions, please contact me. I'm sure you could also talk to Dora if you're kind of thinking, how would I engage that? Am I ready to engage that? And so please talk to us. But it's a marvelous boost to your practice to get out in those cabins, which are blessed by 4 years of long retreat now with the 1 year and the 3 years. And it's a beautiful space and it's quiet and you can get away from the city and your job and your phone and all of that. So it's quite good. Okay, other announcements, Linda?
Yeah, I have an announcement from the board because since Lama Michael's nomination of Julia as his person that he would like to nominate to be our next resident Lama, there have been a lot of Sangha communication on the community list and also coming to the board, and I just want to make sure that everybody, if you haven't seen the messages that Tim has sent out on community, the board has a committee that is working on setting forth a clear and long and careful process according to our bylaws for how we do, as KCC is required in our bylaws, succession to a new resident Lama. And we just want to make everybody comfortable with confidence that we will follow the bylaw process, that Lama Michael putting forth Julia's name is the beginning of a nomination process. But you can see our bylaws on the website, and they do empower the Sangha for a great deal of process and input into what happens. Other people can make other nominations, and we will begin to have Sangha meetings to talk about this and hear everybody's ideas and concerns. We're hoping to put out a message from that committee within a few days and to begin those meetings in January with no sense of rush, because this process is actually one that is required to take a long time, maybe even a couple of years in its entire carrying forth. So I'm aware, as all this is going on, that lots of people don't see the community messages, and you may not have heard that this is going to be happening. So I just wanted to say that. And if you have any concerns, please feel free to talk to me, or if there are any other, I don't know, Cynthia's over there, she can say. Phil is here, John is here, yeah, there are quite a few board members here, so yeah,
John
board members.
So people know.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you, Linda. Anything else? Salita.
We have 3 new people here today.
Yay.
I would like you to raise your hand so we are sure to say hello to you. So Wes is here. He was here last week. There's
Hello.
Wes.
Welcome.
And Helen.
Helen.
Anna.
Hello. Welcome.
Welcome. And as Zopa was saying, downstairs we have a lovely arrangement of tea and treats, and we welcome you. And also, if anybody needs a name tag, doesn't have one or lost one, would you let me know right now at the break? There's also Judy.
Judy.
I think her whole name is Helen.
Oh. Thank you, Salitra. Okay, tea time, please come back.